That may not make a lot of sense. This is Quandary, the show that goes in circles.
What kind of circles?
What circle?
Our circle.
We have a circle?
Yes, we do. And speaking of circles, we have a report today inspired by Rachel Toor's article, Writing Like a Doctor.
Can we place complete faith in our doctors? How can we, if we don't even know if they can write properly?
Do people need to better elaborate their knowledge in writing? Does being a doctor mean one knows how to write? Let's find out what the experts say with an interview with rhetoric professor Bonnie Orsulik.
So, what academic course that you have taken taught you the most about writing well?
I spent a lot of time in English courses, obviously, because I majored in English. But I actually think a nonfiction writing course probably taught me the most about writing well.
Do you think having a work published means that you're a good writer?
No, not necessarily. No. I don't know. I was thinking having a body of work published, several novels or numerous publications in professional journals, I suppose I would make the assumption that the person was a good writer. Just having one piece published somewhere doesn't make me make that assumption, though.
Mm-hmm. Do you think academic journals place enough emphasis on the level of writing of the works they publish?
I guess I assume they do, because they're peer-reviewed, and I'm assuming the peers, the body of peers that review the articles before they decide on whether or not to publish them, have a certain quality, certain standards that they want in the publication.
Is it more difficult to understand the message behind a piece of literature when the writing is poor quality?
Yes. Yes, got to be well written.
Mm-hmm. Should medical education put more emphasis on writing, or does it not make that much of a difference?
If you plan to publish, there should be some emphasis on writing. There should be some courses on writing well, So yes, I guess I do think so.
Are people getting better at elaborating through writing, or are they regressing?
Teaching-wise, I think my students are better prepared to write than they used to be. I don't think the grammatical issues around the students that come to me are worse. They're probably better. But I also think it's hard for students to think outside the box. They've been taught a certain prescribed way to write, and so they latch onto that safe way. So I guess and even in culture, there's certain formats for writing things. So people know how to follow the format, but I'm not so sure the thinking underlying the writing is better. If anything, it's probably not.
Has long-form writing lost its prevalence to other forms of communication? Long articles, maybe entire publications, novels, that sort of thing, as compared to like blogs, Facebooking?
I think, we read that article as Google making us stupid, and I do think that people are starting, because of the way we read, our internet reading habits have changed the way we read. I do agree with Nicholas Carl. I think I've seen a change in the way I read. We're reading for quick answers. That it's troubling if people never stop and read a full text, and are always just browsing to find quick answers. So I suppose I think the long-form writing has lost its prevalence, and that's kind of sad.
There you have it. Those insightful opinions were provided once again by Bonnie Orsulik.
Now let's see what the general student population has to say.
I'm Spanish.
Why?
Because I learned more grammar in that class than anybody ever taught me in English. So, yeah.
Ben?
You?
I'm going to say rhetoric, because over the last 3 weeks I've written 82 pages. So, yeah, that's it. It's not much, but it's something.
Well, so far at VCU, my creative writing class has taught me to write well, having to deal with like poems and fiction writing.
My literature class, my senior year, just because, should I say why?
Yeah.
Okay, just because my teacher really just cared about the material, and he forced us to work outside of the box.
Well, I'd say it's definitely driver's education. Gave me a solid foundation. Because I could say that class was anything but a train wreck. So yeah, I lost a lot of good people in that class.
Okay.
Do you think having
Oh
something...
God.
Not necessarily. I mean, you can get anything published if you know the right people and you have enough money.
I mean, porn articles are published.
Yeah.
So
Those are like horrible storylines.
I don't know if they're I don't know if they're that good of writers. So
Yeah.
no, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I think.
No, not necessarily, because I've heard about like doctors and stuff that they'll like get published in journals and stuff, but it's actually not well written.
Not necessarily. I think it means that maybe you care a little bit more about your writing because you want to like work hard, you are willing to put in the effort to like get your writing out to readers, but I think it's definitely possible to be a good writer without like published.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but yes and yeah. Yeah and yes, if you will. No, I digress. Of course.
No. I do not.
No.
I think the grammar and overall syntax for this nation.
It's
Of the whole nation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know much about journals, but I'm going to say no.
I haven't read many academic journals, to be honest. I feel like they're more like based on the content rather than like how it's written.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's like an ejaculation of the soul, really. You know, I read a journal and it's like it's eating chicken soup, but through my eyes. It's great, you know. I would say yes. It's like standing on a swivel chair, cleaning off the top of your dresser.
It's not enjoyable.
It's more difficult because you have to spend time I spend more time dissecting the text than I do
Like really taking
actually
it in.
trying to get the message.
And it's just aggravating when people can't write correctly.
Well, I definitely think that if it's not written well, it causes confusion, and that like causes it to not be worthwhile.
I do think so. Like I feel like if the writing is written poorly, it's distracting, and if it's written poorly, it just makes me like not want to read it.
I'd say so, definitely. I always get distracted by, mistakes of, the subjunctive tense. And everyone says, oh, the subjunctive tense is irrelevant. You don't even need to do it anymore. I always correct people, and my dad says, oh, Dylan, there's this time in France where a public official used subjunctive tense, and then all the people thought that he was old and stuffy. But I say, no, it is not was, it was were when you're talking in the conditional tense, my friends.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't think so. I don't feel like they should. I mean, I feel like
They can just focus on patient care. That's what doctors do.
They
say bitches.
Aren't doctors the ones that publish things in journals too, though?
No.
Never?
Never ever.
I've never read an article by a doctor.
No. I mean, I
That's
think it's
ridiculous.
important, yeah, but I think by the time if you've reached the education where you're a doctor,
Then you should be able to
write.
That's
pretty
kind of
well.
a given.
Yeah.
If you,
I think it makes a difference because what doctors have to say should be expressed well to others, so others can learn from what they have to say. Because I bet what they have to say is really important and really valuable, but if it's not written well, then what's the use?
I guess no, not really.
Well, I think that really depends. I mean, like, if they want to like kill people, then yeah, it's good. I mean, if they just want to like human centipede it up, then I don't see that writing's necessary. Like in the Human Centipede, the writing was not very good. So yeah, I'd say if they're just going to be German surgeons who so people asked him out, and there's no reason to learn how to write.
Well, that's our report. Certainly feel like I could go home and write a novel now. They're certainly not very well.
Thank you for watching Condery, the show that goes in circles.
Even though I prefer that we go in ovals.
What about ellipses?
What are we orbiting?
Who said we're orbiting?
Wouldn't we orbit something if we ellipse?
I thought we were.
But it's not circle.